Good afternoon, and thank you for joining this afternoon's demo of ePayStub for Canadian payroll. ePayStub is a Microsoft Dynamics GP add-on that was developed by Encore Business Solutions, and it works with the Canadian payroll module. We'll start by taking a look at the main setup window. If you are using and have installed Adobe Acrobat Writer within your GP environment, you will be able to PDF as well as password protect the documents that you are emailing to your employees. So from within ePayStub, you can email the employees pay stubs as well as the T4s, T4As, and R1s. The password can be figured in such a way that you can select the number of digits within the social insurance number. So the password format will be the first 3 characters in lowercase of the employee's last name, as well as the last digits of the social insurance number. You'll see an example of what the password will look like here in the preview pane. And then you will configure the setup for each of the documents that you will be emailing out of ePayStub. On the PayStub tab, you will define the file name that will be assigned to the file when the document is created. The file name can start with either the employee ID or the first name, last name, or last name, first name. You can also add text to the file name as well as the date and or the batch ID. So you can select all of these options if you wish, and you will see a sample of what the file name will look like in the preview pane here as well. Then you can set up the defaults for each of your documents. You can print the pay stub when the email has not been sent. You can print the pay stub along with the email, or do not print the pay stub when the email is sent. You'll browse to the path where the files will be saved, and it's highly recommended that you browse to a local path and save it locally on your machine. And then once the emailing process is completed, you can move those documents over to a secure network location, and that will greatly speed up the processing at the time of emailing for you. And select or enter a subject line as well as a message. This can be overridden from the emailing window. Same setup for each document, the T4, T4A, as well as the R1. You'll then need to assign the email addresses to the employee card. So from the additional menu, we have now added an email address where you can enter the employee's email addresses and then select any additional documents in addition to the pay slips that you wish to email. Now, Canada Revenue rules dictate that you must have written consent from your employees to email one electronic copy of these forms. So when you purchase the ePayStub module from GP, we will provide you with a report writer package that you can import into your GP install. Normally, you would be downloading a copy of the T4 and the T4A report from Canada Revenue and then printing out a GP onto those pre-printed forms. That won't work with the ePayStub module. So we have created the T4 and the T4A report in Report Writer, so you will be able to email those forms as well. You can use those forms to print on blank paper out of GP for any employees that you're not emailing. And for convenience sake, we've also provided you with a letter that you can distribute to your employees to seek consent to email these other documents to them. So once you receive that consent, then you can mark off which documents they would like to receive via email out of the ePayStub module in GP. I want to take a look at the payroll control setup, and on the miscellaneous window, if you have selected an alternate report here, this is what will be used by ePayStub. Okay, so let's look at emailing employee pay stubs, which is done right from the check reports window, and the additional email pay slips option. So all of the defaults as defined in the setup window have populated: my path, my subject, my message. I will be emailing the summary advice slip in a PDF format, everything that was defined in the setup window. As I mentioned, you can override this. So all the employees that are going to be emailed within this payroll run appear in the bottom part of the scrolling window. Now, if I came in here and there was an email address missing and I knew this employee is going to receive an email copy of their payslip, I can zoom into the employee email maintenance. So double click will open the employee email maintenance where I can add the email address, or double click will open the employee card. So for today's demo, I'm just going to work with a single record here. So the first step would be to verify. So I'm just going to run this report to the screen, verify the emails report. So I have one employee here and the check amount, and the next step I'll just go ahead and email. Where we receive a report now that says that this was successful, and the path to where that document is being saved locally, and I will just open up the email along with the attachment here. At this point, we're being prompted for the password, and now we have opened up the employee's payslip. To email the T4 and the R1, that is done from the T4 and R1 print window. So you would just select your employee number and the same additional menu item appears. So you would select either T4s or R1s. And only employees that have consented to receiving these documents by email will have the email enabled. So if they haven't given their consent, it would be disabled. So the same process, the same window that we saw with the payslips, and the T4A print will print off the T4As and email the T4As, pardon me. So again, the same window. So that is an overview of the ePayStub for Canadian payroll module that's been developed by Encore. If you have any questions or you're interested in learning more about the product, you can reach out to our sales team by emailing sales@encorebusiness.com, and we'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have, or alternatively provide you and or your team with a personalized demo. Thank you.